I hope that this camp is taken with the utmost seriousness. I don't know Mikey Varas personally. I don't know his methodology. There's a lot of question marks around Mikey Varas and what he wants to get out of this group. There's question marks as to whether he called this group in. Probably the reality is that he did, right? This is the group that he chose, and maybe with the sporting direction, I don't know.
Like Matt Crocker.
Sure.
Gucci,
right, sure.
And they sit down and go,
does that matter, though? Let's think back to the women's camp where we knew Emma Hayes was coming.
No.
And hold on.
She was signed.
Yes. Yeah, but what I'm saying, this is different.
Knew she was
what I'm saying, I agree with you. What I'm saying is different. There was that limbo of what you're talking about, that sort of purgatory that the U.S. men's national team seems to be in at the moment, where we know what's coming, but we're not sure. Is it signed yet, right? Charlie's got some crazy conspiracy theories. We're not sure what's happening. Remember that moment where Twyla Kilgore sort of takes over and she's in charge? We know Emma Hayes is making the decisions, but there was a way the players played with a different energy, a different excitement versus what we saw under Vlatko in the World Cup. And it was because, at the end of the day, even though Emma Hayes is on the sideline, she's watching. If the Mauricio Pochettino reports are true and he is coming, you're going to want to see these players. If you're one of these players, you're expecting to play your heart out because he's watching and it's new eyes, all new decisions. Everyone's got a clean slate. So I'm not too worried. You talk about whether they take this camp seriously. I think they will because they know the eyes of Mauricio Pochettino are upon them.
Right, and they're professional footballers. I know they're going to take the camp seriously. But in the back of your mind, you can't help but think if you mess up, it's only a friendly, right? And Mikey Varas is there. He's not the coach of the national team for long term, right? He's only for this window, we'd imagine. So that moment that Twyla was the manager for the women's national team, at the very beginning, it wasn't good. She had a pretty long stint until the ship really turned around and there was that good energy, that strong direction. It was during the W Gold Cup that they kind of figured it out. But at the very beginning, it wasn't great. So it's not like I'm expecting. What am I expecting?
Yeah,
right? Is it like good football? Good football? Like I'm not really. I'm just expecting them to give 100%,
to compete
and to claim their stake in the national team, because a lot of these guys, like Matt Turner, for example.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the players that have something to prove in this camp in particular. So let's start with Matt Turner, our resident goalkeeper.
Yeah.
What do you have to see from Matt Turner?
I wish to just have a strong, mistakeless window, because even against, you look at these rivals and you say, all right, they're not the hardest rivals, but even against in that double fixture against Trinidad and Tobago in the Nations League, he was mistake prone. And if I'm Turner and I'm looking forward towards the long-term future of the U.S. net, I want to solidify every opportunity I get, and those ghosts, cast them aside. And this is a good opportunity to do so before the new manager comes in.
If he doesn't have a good camp, what does that mean for him?
Rough. I think he's clearly displaced as the number one.
And then who is the number one? If he has a poor camp.
And he's not playing club.
Who emerges as the number one? Isn't that ridiculous that we can't really, there's not a name that immediately
not even
comes
Slanina's on
mind.
this list.
This position is probably the one with the most question marks at the moment, right?
Because let's just say he gets injured. Who's next? Who's
Horvath.
Who are you putting in at Horvath? Or Schulte?
But neither one of those guys would you say they're your penned in number one? No chance.
Schulte's young. He still makes loads of mistakes, but you would say with his body of work as of late, he would probably be the number one. I'd feel most confident with him in the goal as the number one.
So we'll pencil him in.
And he still makes a lot of mistakes. And that shows if he's ahead of Gago Slonina, where do you think Gago Slonina is in reality?
And Gaga's having a great season for Barnsley right now. It's off to a great start.
Yeah.
Still very young.
Asterisk, still third division.
And another
more competitive than many third division, probably most third divisions in the world.
Sure.
But third division.
Still third division.
And he would have to have a full body of work in terms of a full campaign with that Barnsley. And then you'd say, okay, he's
So
earned.
this is big. This is a big moment for Matt Turner.
Yeah. And I think what the spotlight will ask of him is to become the solid keeper he once was.
Yep.
You know, we talk about mistake prone. There's also that look of confidence that I think has left him, where I want to see more of that. There's a lot of players that seem to be on the fringe where I think a good camp will put them in better standings. I think of the Haji Wrights. I think of like an Aiden Morris. You know, Aiden Morris, I think, has had a great club season over at Columbus. Now he's over in Europe. He seems to be playing very well at Middlesbrough. They seem to like him. Does that get him into a higher position in the rankings within the midfield of the U.S. men's national team?
With a good performance and he's playing, then yeah. Especially when you're playing against Canada. And if he has a good, strong performance, whoever comes next as a U.S. men's national team coach will call him in if he continues to play well at Middlesbrough. But I think a player like Gio Reyna, for me, this is a massive camp because he's, again, on the outskirts at Dortmund. Yes, he's training, he's in the matchday squads, but the last match he didn't see a minute. And so these are the type of games where, okay, let's see where you're at, and not only see where you're at, make a difference. Be that guy. Play 90 minutes. Injuries have been also a problem for him, so staying healthy and then being consistent.
Do we agree that Gio, in this new era of U.S. men's national team, he's not an automatic call-up? Yeah. If there's a camp, you got to call Gio no matter if he's playing or not.
No, but again, it goes back to if Pochettino is the coach, what are his standards? Because he's going to have clear standards. If you're not playing, you're not getting called in.
But we don't know that.
No, but I'm saying if that's his standard, then Gio's not getting called in.
If it's based on skill set alone, to me, he's an automatic call-up. The guy presents something I don't think we have on the rest of the roster. There's a bit of magic there, but it's everything else that follows along with him, with everything that's happening. And I'll take what you said at Dortmund, and actually think there's a bit of a positive in the sense that where we left it off last season, I didn't think he would get any shot. I don't think we'd ever see him wearing a Dortmund shirt ever again. And the fact that he even did get 10 minutes gives me like a sign of hope. The manager came out and said, no, he presents a skill that I think, or maybe it was the director, the sporting director there, who said, he said he's got something and the team likes him and he's going to get a chance. Those are all positive signs that things are moving forward. I agree with you, though. I want to see more. I want to see him fighting to get on that pitch and getting on that pitch. But at the same time, based on his skill set alone, you got to bring him in.
I'm curious to see what is that standard that Pochettino brings to the table.
And that's the thing, we don't know. We just don't know yet.
But I feel like for the U.S.
it's not final.
Right, it's not final. We don't know, and he hasn't had a camp, and for one
That's
camp,
why I'm having a really hard time figuring out like how we measure success in this particular window. Like outside of wins against Canada and New Zealand.
You
Like
could win
what
4-0,
is a successful September camp? Like what are the best case scenario?
The bare minimum is win both.
Yeah.
And I don't even think unless they're absolute both blowouts, is that really like a fully successful camp?
I don't think we can walk away from this saying overall success. I think this window,
it's a
knowing that
stopgap.
Poch is on the horizon, it's like, sure, you won most games, a couple of guys had, but it's not a strong foundational building block towards 2026.
When is the next international break?
October. And then there's one in November.
I just feel, there's just not a lot of time, and I think you've alluded to this, Charlie, about like every window from here until 2026 is important, and it's just unfortunate that it feels like this one. I don't want to say it's a waste, but
like a throwaway.
We are just such in a state of limbo, as Alexis said, that it doesn't feel like there's any concrete knowledge that we can gain from this.
Poch isn't even signed, so as he's going to be watching. Of course, he's going to be watching, but I don't think he can be making the lists. I don't think he can be making tactical adjustments over walkie-talkies. None of that.
No, but if you're a player that gets on that pitch and you know he's watching, play your heart out.
Yeah, like an Aiden Morris, and you be like, because he hasn't been on the radar for the U.S. men's national team. He plays a little bit, and maybe Poch is having his wine or his mate or whatever, and goes, oh, look at that guy.
Wait, did Messi? Was that? Maybe Messi's watching.
Poch,
he's like, look at that guy.
It makes me very proud. Poch has the quintessential Argentine who speaks English accent, and the fact that he's going to be reportedly the manager of the national team makes me very proud.
Yeah.
Very
You should
proud.
be. You should be. If it was a guano, I'd be talking about it every day. So I agree with you.
Right.